All right, for the next learn, we are going to compare the mean and the median of a data set. And just to remind you, mean is the average, and we can find the mean by adding all the values and divide it by the number of the value. For the median is the middle value when we organize the data from least to greatest or greatest to least. Now let's look at the first example. Mrs. Brown took a survey to find out that the number of hours the student in her class spent in the public library in 2 weeks. Each dot represents one student. Again, this is the important thing. You have to know what the dot plot is represent. The dot plot is representing numbers of hours, and each dot represents one student, meaning that 2 students spend 1 hour in the public library in 2 weeks. Four students spent 2 hours in the public library, and one student spent 3 hours in the public libraries. And there's one student at the end over here that spent 15 hours in the library, and this is the value we call again the outlier. The outlier is the value that is away from everyone else, and it will change the middle tendency of the central tendency of our data significantly. So sometimes an outlier might not be included when we're calculating the data. Now let's look at the first one. Find the mean and the median. To find the mean, you know to find the total number of hours. So I'm going to start by multiplying the number of students and the number of hours. Because there are 2 students who spend 1 hour, that's 2 hours in total. So 2 times 1 is 2, plus there are 4 students who spend 2 hours each. So 4 times 2 is 8. And then we have 1 student spent 3 hours and 1 student who spent 15 hours. Very hardworking. And then you're going to divide by the total number of students. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 students in total. So 2 plus 8 is 10. 10 plus 3 is 13. 13 plus 15 is 28. To find the average, I can take out my calculator and divide 28 by 8. 28 divided by 8 is 3.5. So our mean is 3.5 hours. This is our mean. What about our median? So to find the median, you have to find the middle value of the whole set. So let me start from crossing out the number from the front, the least value, and the greatest value one by one. So I'm going to cross one from the front, one from the back, one more from the front, one more from the back. And because there are 2 value in the middle, but both of them are 4, so 4 plus 4 divided by 2 would give me 4. So the median of this data set is 4. Sorry, it's 2 hours. Oh, my fault. The value of this is 2 hours because these 2 students represent 2 hours. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So the median here is 2 hours. So now we have 2 different values because the mean is 3.5 hours and the median is 2 hours. Now my question is, which one represents our data better? Well, if you have to justify your answer, I could probably say a few things. First, we know that the mean is 3.5 hours. However, all but one student visit the library for fewer than 3.5 hours, because if 3.5 hours is here and everybody is spending less time there, it means that this is not what the majority of people are doing, right? You can't say that most people spend 3.5 hours at the library when only one person spent more than 3.5 hours. So this mean does not accurately describe the data set well. But on the other hand, if you look at the median is 2 hours, and it describes the data set better because most of the data value cluster around 2 hours. So the majority of the students goes to the library twice per week. So let me recap what I just said. The question said which one of the two measure of central tendency, the mean or the median, better describe the data set. Basically, it's just asking you which value represents the data set better. The mean we got is 3.5 hours, but most students visited the library less than 3.5 hours, and our mean is really high because there is one outlier in the data set. So the mean does not describe the data really well. However, the median is 2 hours, which is what the majority of people, which is how long the majority of people goes to library for. So it describes the data set better because most of data value clusters around 2 hours. So let's look at our task. Let's understand first what the data set means. So this dot plot shows the temperature reading, and this is the lowest temperature that are recorded over a few days. And each dot represents one reading. So there is one reading that the temperature is 40 degrees, one that is 41. There are 2 times that the temperature is 46, 1 time at 47, and 3 times at 48. What would be the mean temperature? To find the mean, again, you will have to add all the values. So remember, there's one day that is 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So you add 40 plus 41. There are 2 days that is 46, so 46 times 2 is 92. There's one day that is 47, so you keep adding 47. And the last day, because there are 3 readings that are 48, so 3 times 48 gives me 144. So you're adding all of them up. 40 plus 41 plus 92 plus 47 plus 144 divided by the dots. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So all those sum divided by 8 would give you the mean temperature. And then to find the median temperature, what you're going to do is you can cross off one by one from least to greatest until you find the number in the middle, and you can add them up and then divide it by 2. You will get the median temperature. Now, once you find the mean temperature, mark a point on the number line and ask yourself how many of the temperature reading recorded are higher than the mean temperature. So the number of reading, you can count the dots of any values that is higher than the mean. Lastly, it's asked which of the two measure of central tendency, the mean or the median, better describes the data set. And just like the question earlier, there are 2 values that are outliers. So there a big gap between them and the other information. So you have to carefully decide whether they justify what the majority of data is about. I'm gonna give you some time to pause the video, and I'll see you in a moment. So for the next part, I'm going to briefly describe your independent practice and then make sure you complete any Delta Math lessons that are still missing. So let's look at this data set. Jenny's bought some dinner rolls from a bakery. The dot plot shows the prices of the dinner rolls in cents. Each dot represents one dinner roll. So there's one dinner roll that is 50 cents, one that are 90 cents, one that is 90 cents, 2 that is 100 cents, 5 that is 110 cents, and 3 that is 120 cents. So each dot represents one dinner roll. So these are the total amount of dinner rolls that she bought. The first question asks what is the mean price of the dinner rolls that she bought. round to the nearest cent. So remember, you will have to add up all the values and then divide it by the number. So one dinero costs 50, so that's 50 plus one dinero that costs 90, so plus 90. Two dinero costs 100, so that's 200, and so on, right? So once you add all the value, you're going to divide by the number of the dineros. So you add that, and how many dineros are there? 3 plus 5 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1. So how many dineros are there? Round it to the nearest cent, meaning there should be no decimal points. The second question asks what is the median of the dinero she bought. So you're going to start from the least and the greatest, and you're going to cross off one at a time until you find the middle value. And then for number 13, the question asks which of the two measure of central tendency would be more appropriate to this data set. And remember, when you see the gap in the information, this one data is called outlier, and it will make your mean either greater or lesser than what it should be. So once you see the outlier, you know that you can rely more on the median value. So I hope that this lesson was helpful and it's not too complicated. If you have any questions, you know that you can always join me on my Google Meet from 12 to 1. You can also email me or text me on the following at the following numbers. And I hope to see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Bye.